Unfortunately, last week we didn't hit big, but we had a really good attempt. Quarterbacks like Brady did well. And of course, Alex Smith, I thought, was a very good attempt. Led the league in passing yards last week, 390 pass yards, just no passing touchdowns. If he just got the touchdowns, I think it would have been well worth it, especially at that price. So very good. Also, the cheap running backs did fail last week. So close, but it was barely enough to get in the green, but we're trying to hit big. Let's see if we can do it this week. Ladies and gentlemen, these are my NFL DFS picks for week 11. We're concentrating on contrarian picks, upside picks, and cheap plays for DraftKings week 11. Let's jump right into it. For quarterbacks, I'm going to go over quickly what the elite options are. Now, I do like Cam, but I don't think he's an elite option for a GPP. You're going to heavily rely on those rushing touchdowns. So I do like him. He's good. Not a top 3 quarterback for me for GPPs, though. Might slide in the top 5, but yeah, I'm not huge on him at 6,200. So the elite options this week are Lamar Jackson. Great matchup against the Titans. Could be a sneaky shootout. He'll have to put the team on his back and do some things. Unfortunately, Lamar Jackson, forget expectations. He's a good quarterback this year in fantasy. He puts up points, but no upside. Could he be the safest quarterback? That's pretty gross. He basically puts up 20 fantasy points every week. He's not volatile, doesn't have a ton of upside, and he's not complete trash either. Never put up single-digit fantasy points. Looking at it right now, the lowest he put up was 14.5 against the Bengals, which was pretty dang disappointing, but still. That was a lopsided game, so that's understandable. So yeah, he's going to give you 20 fantasy points. Maybe this week he can reach that level he reached against the Eagles with 31. Anyway, I said I wouldn't talk too much about the obvious picks, but Lamar Jackson, elite option. Herbert, borderline elite option. Love him this week. Don't know if the game script's going to love Justin Herbert's fantasy numbers, though. Still an elite option. Definitely top 5. Big Ben, another top 5 elite option going against the Jags. James Conner's not doing it. Steelers D's doing it, so Steelers D might take care of this job, but if James Conner doesn't take care of his job, Big Ben can do it against the Jaguars and give you another huge performance. 32 fantasy points last week, somewhat surprised us, and again, 28 fantasy points against the Cowboys, where the game script was supposed to be against Big Ben, but it wasn't. He balled out the last 2 games against 2 bad teams. And James Conner was a huge disappointment the last 2 weeks in game scripts that favored him. Let's see what happens in this game script against the Jags, where the Steelers are heavily favored to win and should dominate on all 3 phases of the game. To be honest, don't know much about the special teams of the Jags and Steelers. So maybe the 2 big phases of the game, offense and defense. One more elite option. Deshaun Watson, 6,500, had a somewhat disappointing, he had a disappointing game last week against the Browns, going against the Patriots. It doesn't scream like a great matchup, but I think it could be a sneaky good matchup for Deshaun Watson, who's definitely got to put the team on his back. That's no matter what. He's definitely going to put the team on his back and put up fantasy points, or at least have the chance to. So those are the elite options. So I just want to go over that really quick. So these are my 2 big time plays this week. This is why I make these videos. A little more contrarian, a little cheaper, less obvious. 2 guys here priced very similarly. So we got Carson Wentz, 5,700. Does he suck? Yeah. But does he really suck like the whole year, like his career? Or is it really just one game? Okay, he had a slow start to the season. 16 fantasy points, 15 fantasy points. 2 tough defenses, the Washington football team and the Rams. And then going up against the Giants, an underrated defense. He didn't look himself. He was terrible. But that's really one game. Okay, and if you disagree, let's just say he put up 50 fantasy points against the Giants last week. 50, like record-breaking numbers. Would you still say Carson Wentz sucks? So if you're talking about just one game, it's not just one game. It's not just, okay. Then how about if he put up 50 fantasy points last week? He'd still suck and everybody would still hate him? No. Public perception right now hates Carson Wentz and the Cowboys. Okay, I'm telling you right now. I'm in tune to what's going on with the peoples. I listen to my Discord. I listen to the Couch Fam. I answer a lot of fantasy questions. Right now, Carson Wentz is being dropped in a lot of leagues. He's a free agent in season-long leagues. Public perception is down right now. And I mean, rightfully so. Like, is the NFC East. Eagles, although they're the number one team in that division, are very disappointing. It's sad. And right here, decent matchup against the Browns. Sure, I'm also, a human. I'm with you guys here. I'm a little scared of Myles Garrett and some of these Browns defenders, but overall, Browns defense hasn't been great. They've been getting better. I like their core, and what they're doing and the youth, but overall, they're not a great defense. And Carson Wentz, I guess I labeled Lamar Jackson as a fairly consistent, reliable quarterback. Although the year's been disappointing for him, the numbers show he's been fairly consistent. Carson Wentz is not. He's not reliable. He's not consistent. He's very volatile. He'll give you 10 points, and then he'll give you 30 points. He'll give you not so many rushing yards, like 4, and then he'll give you 50 rushing yards. Look at that. How many rushing touchdowns this man has? 1, 2, 3, 5 rushing touchdowns on the year. So, yeah, he's all volatile in all phases of the game, from the Eagles winning to having the lead to throwing the ball to running the ball. That's why I like him. A lot of upside, no floor. Price is very cheap. And my second option is going to be a little bit less contrarian. People don't hate this guy as much. But still, faith is lost a little bit in Joe Burrow. He was kind of the talk of the town. And then the last 2 games, not so much, right? Averaging 15 fantasy points his last 2 games. So Joe Burrow, he had a nice, happy profile picture. Headshot. I was about to call it a mugshot, but now it looks more like a sad mugshot now. And that's the Bungles for you. So, depressed Joe Burrow. I love the price. Really, that's it. I think he's not going to be super contrarian. It's not going to be a super steal or anything like that, but he's got some upside. Maybe he'll get some more rushing yards. I think this team's a bit defeated, and I think the coach is telling him, look, don't get hurt. Don't run the ball too much. 0 rush attempts last game. Only 3 rush attempts the game before week 8. So, not a lot of faith in him, but like I said, I love the price. It's very cheap, and I like his upside. So there's a chance. That's really all I'm saying. There's a chance. So you're saying there's a chance? Yeah, there's a chance with Joe Burrow sneaking into being a top 3 quarterback. I don't have much faith in it, though. I like Carson Wentz more as a pick. I think he's going to be even more contrarian. I think people hate him and have no trust in him, and I think he has more upside. And I think the Eagles aren't giving up. They're in first place in their division. They're definitely not giving up. They're going to try to make playoffs. And right now they're projected to make playoffs. I think if I ask you which team's going to make playoffs in the NFC East, I did put that poll up, but I'll put it up again. I think Eagles would win in that poll. So they're not defeated. They're not giving up. Bungles, on the other hand, not so much. Moving on to running backs. There's the obvious answers. Of course, you got guys like Kamara and Dalvin Cook, who I love. I think I'm going to have Dalvin Cook as my number 1 running back this week. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. But just like Carson Wentz, everybody hates Ezekiel Elliott. I've been getting a lot of trade questions and just the overall public perception. I think with Andy Dalton back, the Cowboys have a chance. Now, the game's going to have to be close enough to where Tony Pollard doesn't see more than 34% of the snaps. Because if we see that, Zeke's not going to get his chance. We need this game to be somewhat close. Vegas has the Vikings winning by a touchdown or just over a touchdown. Has it being not such a high-scoring game, but not a low-scoring game either. Both teams, bad defenses. Look, all you need is one run. Remember one week I was very successful. Miles Sanders, I believe, was going up against the Steelers. They held that man to 2 rushing yards. But it just took one run. He ran for like 50-yard or 60-yard touchdown, and that made it. I think it was 2 touchdowns and like 64 yards or something crazy like that. And like almost all those fantasy points came off that one run. If Miles Sanders can do it that game, Zeke can do it against the Vikings. Yeah, it's really a matter of 2 things, right? Public perception, so the ownership is going to be down. He's going to be somewhat contrarian. And then it's going to be the price. 6,500, he's no longer priced in the range where we're used to seeing Zeke priced, who's like the most expensive quarterback or 3rd most expensive quarterback. I mean, I can't even count. What is he, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11th most expensive quarterback? Let's just say 10 to rule out C-Mac. So, yeah, there's 9 running back. I said quarterback. 9 running backs that are more expensive than him that people are going to consider putting in their lineups. And, yeah, maybe I'm not even going to label him as he's not a contrarian, or let's just say he's not super contrarian. Because if I'm able to find this good value price for Zeke, other people will too. I just don't think he'll be heavily owned though. I think we'll be able to get good value and somewhat good ownership percentages to where he can really help boost your team. And then we got another one, Todd Gurley. I really have no reason to pick him other than, well, the price is good. So that's one reason. But the main reason is that I don't think people are going to pick him. They're going to see first right here, Saints are good against the run, good against running backs, Saints defense. And Todd Gurley is not the best, right? But his knack for finding the end zone and scoring touchdowns, I need to look up a stat. This season and past season, it's got to be remarkable considering, his O-line and, how fast he is and how many touches he gets, how many snaps he gets. It's very remarkable. I'd like to see him more involved in the pass game, but unfortunately, they're resting him a bit and giving Brian Hill maybe 33% of the snaps. But his knack for finding the end zone, and with Drew Brees out, leaving some more uncertainty with how that offense is going to do, how consistent it's going to be, how efficient, and how many times they're going to turn the ball over and punt, and the pace they're going to go, it adds another factor, one that I like. It adds risk, it adds upside for Todd Gurley scoring a 1-yard rushing touchdown. Okay? Don't think a lot of people are going to pick him. No one's really hyping up Todd Gurley right now. No hype, no love. It's basically like a pick like Zeke. 5,900 is a good price for. It's still Todd Gurley. Like, you're still getting Todd Gurley with that. Okay, moving on. This is where I'm gonna live a little bit for a running back. I think I'm gonna pick one of these 3, and they're all priced about the same. And so that's Kalen Ballage, 5,600, the workhorse running back of the Los Angeles Chargers. Tremaine Pope got 0 touches last week, and Justin Jackson is out, and Joshua Kelly isn't getting too many snaps. So you got Kalen Ballage. We found ourselves a workhorse, by the way, going up against the Jets, worst team in the league. What are they ranked against running backs? Where was that? 22nd against running backs. Okay. And then we got Gio Bernard again, 5,500. Joe Mixon is out. Joe Mixon probably will return next week. I don't know how tough the Bengals are tanking. Shh, not supposed to say the bad word. Don't say the T word. The Jets, because the Jets really owed that T word, the tanking word. Oh my God, they are tanking like none other. Bengals, they might be trying to tank, but they ain't gonna match up to the Jets. No way, nobody can do that. Maybe the 76ers. That's a different sport though. Puke Johnson, I don't like you. You made me look stupid last week, and Regretfully, I'm still going to pick you this week. That's really it. That's all I got to say. I have to find a reason to support that, right? Otherwise, he gets almost all the snaps at running back position. That's the evidence I have to support this this foolishness. But I'm just telling you what I'm doing. It's the truth. I'm gonna go back in the Puke Johnson well, and maybe I'll throw up again. We'll see. Who's in the running back 4K club? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I got at least 3 guys for you. There's probably 5 or 6, but I'm going to highlight 3 guys. So that's Adrian Peterson. We got to type this because it's impossible to find. Adrian Peterson, 4,000. 4,000, by the way, minimum price for running backs on DraftKings. DeAndre Swift has been ruled out. Adrian Peterson is the starting running back. Now, Kerryon Johnson's probably going to be the pass catching back, and this is full PPR. Adrian Peterson is better, though. I think the Lions organization trusts him more. I see Kerryon more as a change of pace back and a pass catching back, quote unquote, because DeAndre Swift is out. So, Kerryon, I mean, he's the next guy I'm going to talk about or not talk about, but he's also in the 4K club. So you can go with either one. They're interchangeable. I like AP more, though. But yeah, Kerryon also 4K. I click on it just to show you. It's true. And we have one super risky one that now I bring up guys like this that I'm not going to be picking much. I'll probably pick them, but just very little bit in my lineups. Look, if you're only doing one lineup, GPP single entry, that's a good thing. That's good. Do that. Don't pick Matt Breida. But if you're going to do 10, 15, 20 or more lineups, you might want to interchange some players. You got your core players that you're going to use in most of your lineups, and then you have your interchangeable players. Maybe you go Adrian Peterson in one, and then you go Matt Breida in the other. Matchup is not bad. I think Ahmed has the spot locked up. I think he is going to get the majority of the snaps, the majority of the carries. But you never know. We're introducing a new variable here, and that variable is Matt Breida. Now, I'm telling you right now, he's probably going to get 9 touches and not do that much. But you never know. He was the number 2 running back behind Gaskin before Gaskin got hurt. Now Gaskin's out. Jordan Howard is no longer on the Dolphins. He's going to be on the Eagles. He just signed with the Eagles. I think he's on their practice squad. So no Jordan Howard. No Gaskin, so Breida does have a shot. Like I said, Ahmed's probably going to be the man, though. Just fair warning, just going over some 4K players. It's always good to look at those minimum price to see if you can find something special there. Find some hidden gold, hidden gems. And just like Carson Wentz, I told people not to pick, I'm spelling it wrong, Travis Fulgham last week. I said he's going to be a bust, and he was. He's still a great wide receiver. I would say he's the number 1 wide receiver. He's the number 1 receiver, period, on that Eagles team. The number 1 option in that pass game. I wouldn't be scared to pick him. The price is okay. Not bad, not great, and I think we'll be able to get him. I think he had one bad game, and we're gonna look at these numbers, guys. He puts up nearly 20 points a game. He had one bad game. I don't know if we can say that's a trend that's going to continue. What I can say is people panic and they're not going to pick him this week. I am. 5,600. Travis Fulgham going against the Browns. They have good defensive players, but the defense as a whole can't really stop much. So I'm going with Fulgham. Same thing, I'm picking a Cowboy. Amari Cooper, 5,400. There's several ways the Cowboys, someone's going to do something on the Cowboys. That's analysis, I know. It could be, what I'm saying is it's probably going to be CeeDee Lamb or Amari Cooper. I'm banking it's Cooper, 5,400. CeeDee's, by the way, 5K, but I like Amari Cooper's price. Now, one guy that is perfect for GPPs, that's not going to be contrarian, though, is Marvin Hall, next man up for the Lions. Third option, I would say, in that pass game. No Kenny Golladay. No DeAndre Swift. He catches passes too. And no Danny Amendola, who's got a ton of targets this year. Been a big part of that offense. And so Marvin Hall, he's kind of a deep threat. He's he can get you big plays, a lot of yards. But a lot of people's going to be picking him. The price is right. The opportunity is right. Matthew Stafford has, I'd say, over a 99% chance that he's going to play. This is the early slate, too, so we'll be able to know. Matthew Stafford, I'm very, very certain he's going to play, although, he is hurt, and there's a chance, I guess, he won't play. He's going to play. Cheaper option, we got Jakeem Grant. 3,500. I'm a fan of this guy. Not necessarily a ton of upside, but a great matchup. I don't think the best corners are going to be on Jakeem Grant. Matter of fact, out of the top 3 Denver corners, Jakeem Grant may be matched up against the worst one. So it's going to be a lot of opportunity here. Of course, Preston Williams is out and the price is right. And we got Denzel Mims. Now, you could go, I'm not hating on Crowder or Perryman. Those two are fine options, but because the Jets throw to the wide receiver. They call these plays, where it takes a long time to develop and they have to throw to a wide receiver because their tight ends suck and they're tanking and they don't even throw to the running backs that much. I don't know. But Adam Gase is calling the plays, and they always throw to whoever's the 3 starting wide receivers, whether that's, I hope I got his name right, Jeff Smith, Braxton Berrios, Vincent Smith. I think he was basically hurt the whole year. Whoever it is, they're throwing it to him. And this week, the starting 3 wide receivers for the Jets are Perryman, Crowder, and Denzel Mims. Denzel Mims last week, 8 targets. That's very good. And that was Flacco, right? Week 9? Week 9 was it? I'm pretty sure it was Flacco throwing. Yeah, it was Flacco throwing the ball week 9. Perryman went off. That's right. Close game between the Flacco and the Cam. One more option, the 3,000 club, which is minimum priced for wide receivers. I got a good one. Okay. So Marvin Hall, a little bit more chalky than we'd like, but Quintez Cephas, minimum priced, is going to move up to be the 4th option in this pass game for the Lions. That's not great. Okay. But you got Hawkinson, you got Marvin Jones. Defenses will try to zero in on stopping them. And Quintez Cephas hasn't really done anything since week 1 where he didn't really do anything then. But he got 10 targets week 1, 3 targets week 2. Hasn't really done much. Amendola out, Kenny Golladay out. If the Lions throw the ball, which is very likely, and throw to the wide receivers, Quintez Cephas could be a great punt play. Again, minimum price, could be contrarian, and that's why I like him. Okay. For tight ends, sometimes it's sitting right in our face and we don't see it. One of the best tight ends this year is Mark Andrews, just like Lamar Jackson has been disappointing this year. But he puts up 11 fantasy points per game. And they traded away Hayden Hurst. They got rid of Nick Boyle. And it's sitting right here in front of us. He's the most expensive tight end, but not vastly more expensive than any other tight end. Let's take Hawkinson, who's like the 7th most expensive tight end. He's only 700 more than Hawkinson. Only 800 more than Jared Cook. Only 900 more than Ebron. You get the picture. So he's not that expensive. I think you can sneakily spend up on tight end and get a guy like Andrews. I'm going to go over some other options. My second favorite my tight end that I project is going to score the 2nd most points in the main slate is going to be TJ Hawkinson. Bad game last week, but that's really, other than that, he's been great this year. He's borderline elite tight end. I think if he has a good game this week, I would say Hawkinson's elite option at tight end this year. No doubt. I mean, there's so many disappointments, so much uncertainty, that Hawkinson's going to be elite if he has a good game against the Panthers. Okay, and one that I'm terrified. I'm not going to lie. I'm so terrified, and I just don't know. But that's why, especially when it comes to tight end, it's okay to go against my gut and what I don't like, because it's such a crapshoot and Odell Beckham is out and the matchup's not horrible. I like Austin Hooper. Only had 2 targets last week. Last week was just, let's just say week 10 was such an anomaly. I'm looking at all these guys that I talked about and they're so good except for week 10. It's so weird. Yeah, week 10 has some terrible performances. So many busts last week. He's been really getting acclimated to this offense and been getting a lot more targets. He got hurt for a while. Right before that, he was doing so well. Look at that. Look at that. 7 targets week 4, 10 targets week 5, 6 targets week 6. And I think this is the type of tight end where you're going to have so much upside and be so contrarian that you almost got to put him in at least one of your GPPs. Why not? You're able, he's 3,900, so you should be able to fit him in like the 11th most expensive tight end, something like that, or 12th most expensive. So, yeah. And then Dallas Goedert, I think he's going to be contrarian. I like him. It's the same game. So 3,800 for him. Now, Logan Thomas actually is starting to now he's going to be more chalk. He's very cheap, very reliable, going to get you at least 4 targets from Alex Smith. All right, go ahead and make that 5 or 6 targets because it's Alex Smith and everything aligns. So very, dare to say it, but very safe tight end is Logan Thomas. So doesn't really belong for what we're doing, but I did want to mention that. I mean, it's cheap, it's great. Like, I wouldn't mind, and not everyone has to be contrarian in our lineups, but I do like to go a little bit more contrarian than most. And, Robert Tonyan, 3,200, nothing more than a contrarian pick. And one thing I did want to talk about is Kyle Rudolph versus Irv Smith. Kyle Rudolph, 3,200, playing in the later games, the second wave of games. Love Kyle Rudolph as a pick here. If Irv Smith is out, Irv Smith is a game time decision. So keep that in mind. Now, another guy, similar situation that you can interchange. So Kyle Rudolph, 3,200. You'll see where I'm headed with this. Trey Burton, 3,100, who I love. Now, if Jack Doyle is questionable, so if Jack Doyle is out, you could go with Trey Burton. If Irv Smith is out, you could go with Kyle Rudolph, and you could switch these two. They're interchangeable. Trey Burton, 3,100. Kyle Rudolph, 3,200. Now you might be screwed, and Irv Smith and Jack Doyle both play. But what do we really know about tight ends, right? Just pick one and go, if that's the case. And like I said, they both kick off later, so we'll be able to make that work. You can change players in your lineup before they play. And so that helps out. Did want to point that out. For defenses, it's kind of all over the place, but I'll go over some of the options. Steelers, number 1, projected to score the most points this week, going up against the Jags. They're also extremely expensive. Chargers, my number 2, projected defense to score the most points, going up against the tanking Jets. Other options include the Browns in a very volatile game. Could be high scoring, could be low scoring. Eagles can whoop on the Browns. Browns could whoop on the Eagles. Mistakes could be made by the Eagles, or maybe Carson Wentz has his best game. Like I said, Carson Wentz, very volatile, very inconsistent, and so are the Eagles. They look like a good team one week, and then they look like the worst team in the league the next week. And so, yeah, Browns D, 3,000, not a bad pick, good price. Washington D, horrible performance. They made me look so bad last week with 0 points against the Lions. But this is a good defense, a defense that can put up a lot of fantasy points, and they're going up against the Bungles. They could be tanking. Lions going up against the Panthers. Teddy Bridgewater's not going to play. So it's going to be XFL star PJ Walker. Now, I don't like this pick at all. Lions defense is horrible. Don't pick them. But I did want to point out the price and that Teddy Bridgewater is out. So there is at least some reason to pick the Lions. But if you did want to save, you might want to look at the Broncos. defense a little bit underrated and going against the Dolphins, rookie quarterback. They're priced at 2,400. The Falcons going against a Drew Brees-less Saints. They're 2,300. And the Bengals, who, I really don't like. Nothing more than a punt. But that's the cheapest I could possibly go, 2,300. Going against Washington, who, I probably just wouldn't pick this. Just spend up on on a defense, guys. I'd rather pick the Falcons or Broncos than them. But I'm probably going to be spending up on a defense. At least Washington, 2,900 or above. And that's where I'm looking at. All right, guys, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. Good luck this week in DFS. Subscribe to our second YouTube channel as well. It's called Fantasy Couch Podcast. We go live every Thursday evening right after Thursday night football. Smash it with a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I'm about to hop on the Patreon only live stream. Link below in the description if you want to check out the Patreon. Peace.